All right, this is the second sample character. In this case, I've made a crafter. You can see he's a wizard. I didn't take a archetype for my character, but I did take the valet archetype for my familiar. And you can already see that I have chosen a dwarf wizard, which is kind of strange, but for item creation, legitimately superior. You can see basically it increases the amount of gold pieces of progress I can make in crafting items per day. And for first level, the only craft I know is Scribe Scroll, so that's what I chose. But yeah, wizard. He's a dwarf. He worships the god of magic. He's lawful neutral, just basically because why not? And you can see I took some alternate racial traits here. So, craftsman, I get a bonus to craft or profession checks that involve metal or stone. That frankly doesn't make a very big difference, but I liked it thematically. It replaced greed, which is bonus to appraise checks. Whatever. Here we go. Industrious urbanite. Dwarves who have accepted the expectations of their host cities make double the normal progress on craft checks to create non-magical items. So basically, this is a dwarf who is a little less dwarfy, but has integrated well with the community that he lives in now. Um, Probably human community because it's a game primarily about humans. Um, Whatever it is, it's somewhere magical, and he's a dwarf wizard now. Uh, I took Draconic as a bonus language because, as a wizard, of course I did. I took Terran, and um, I just took Terran because I felt like if I was a dwarf wizard, it would make sense that I spoke the language of magical earth-based creatures. I took Gnome because gnomes have a large technical vocabulary, and I took Undercommon because dwarves grow up under mountains. That's it. There's not really a lot of metagaming going on here. I guess maybe with Draconic, but that's pretty standard. um, yeah, and all the way up. Um, Frankly, int could be a lot lower since this is a character who focuses on crafting. It's not going to affect his save DCs. The primary reason it's all the way up at 18 is because it affects the number of skill points I get. I have bonus constitution because that was as good a place for it as any. I think I get some for being a dwarf, so whatever. I have some wisdom. I have some charisma. I might also be tempted to drop that point, the constitution, a couple of points, so I can bring my charisma up a couple of points. But I just like the idea of a gruff dwarf, so left that at an 8. As with my blaster, if I was intending on making ranged touch attacks, I could take a couple of points out of con or whiz and move it into dex. Um, that's not what this dwarf is about, so moving right along. I took a school specialization, the Arcana Miriam Crafter. It doesn't do anything for me at first level. At third level, I get a bonus feat. Uh, oh, and I get a bonus to all of my magic item creation skill checks. And then there's something that happens at level 8 I've literally never read. So, at first level, I took Detect Magic, Prestidigitation, and Read Magic as my 0 level spells, and I took Craster's Fortune and Fabricate Bullets as my uh, level 1 spells. If I'm going to pull up the spell book, I have some more stuff going on there. I took Crafter's Fortune, Expeditious Construction, Expeditious Excavation, Fabricate Bullets, Identify, Jury Rig, and Secluded Grimoire. And you get all the standard level 0 stuff that you get. This is a dwarf who makes things. Like, none of these is a blast. None of these is really even a combat spell. He just makes stuff. That's it. That's the focus on the character. That's what you get. The familiar that I took is an Ian Weird. So we can click through so we can look at his archetype. But the most important thing about the Ian Weird is that it's a construct, which means that I think level 7 is when you can get Craft Construct, and at that point, I'll be able to pour money into my familiar to give him skill points, abilities, attribute points, whatever. Uh, I can make my construct familiar more better. And as a character focused on building things, that really appealed to me. I could replace that with anything. Um, I don't think there's a familiar that gives you a bonus to your spellcraft, but if there is, that would technically be better. I'm not worried about it. So I took the valet archetype. You can see it has cooperative crafting, which means that it doubles the amount of gold pieces of items I can make per day. It can cast open and close and prestidigitation at will. That's not really interesting. If I had teamwork feats, that would be duplicated here. It can still deliver touch spells for me. That's it, man. Really, the cooperative crafting is the thing that's important. Uh, oh, and that also gives me a bonus to my spellcraft checks. That's super handy. I don't think there's anything else here. Oh, the Eon Stone. So, an Eon Weird has an Eon Stone at its core, and if you're friendly with the Eon Weird, you can swap the Eon Stone out for whatever you want. For a level 1 Eon Weird like this, I make the assumption that it has a dull gray Eon Stone at its core. Eventually, I will want to update it, but for now, um, it just is. Like, it has enough stuff to exist, and I assume no bonuses. I think that's as intended. Um, Skills. I took alchemy, blacksmith, and gem cutting. Um, just I feel like it's good to have if you have a magical crafter to have a number of um, mundane crafts. Um, I know mechanically that doesn't have any benefit. I could take those skill points and put them anywhere else. I think thematically it's strong, so I do that. Knowledge Arcana, because this is a competent and studied wizard. Similarly, a point of spellcraft and a point of use magic device. Use magic device is more so that I can use spells on scrolls or wands from other classes to fulfill the crafting requirements of items I want to make. Um, you can theoretically hire people to cast those spells for you, but I think it's easier if you just can make a check, use the scroll, and that's it. Feats. Arc. I took. Excuse me, frog in my throat. I took Arcane Builder. Um, Basically lets me make these things better and faster, which is fantastic. I got Scribe Scroll as a wizard bonus class feature, so that. Um, we took Spark of Creation, which gives me a +1 on all of my craft checks, which is great for mundane crafting. And when I craft magic items, the cost is reduced by 5%. I don't even remember what this is. Oh, I get +1 bonus to my use magic device checks. That's super handy. My drawback I took is Meticulous. You aren't good at improvising when things don't go as planned. -2 penalty on skill checks for which you're untrained. I feel like this fits this character well, right? This is a character who is all about, literally making plans, drawing schematics and blueprints, and then building that thing. And so, like, the chaos of adventure is not kind to this guy. He doesn't have the ability to improvise or wing it. So that I took that drawback. Um, Here we go, weapons. Again, I have literally not concerned myself with weapons. In this case, even with armor for this character, there aren't significant choices or interesting choices to be made here. I don't think he's got his starting spell book. Right, this is all of my everything. My stone cutting bonus. Oh boy. That's my faster crafting. That is my dwarf favorite class ability. Yeah, there's nothing surprising or interesting here, really. Oh, my familiar gives me a +1 bonus to my AC. If he's within arm's reach. Well, we'll go ahead and check that. Okay. Let's see. We've got the familiar here. There's nothing to picking the familiar, and the archetype was the interesting part. There's no feats or skills or anything to worry about here. So we'll move on to the level 5 version of the character. You can see that I selected different favored class bonuses as we moved on. So Scribe Scroll twice, Craft Wondrous twice, Craft Magic Arms and Armor. If I was playing in a game where retraining was an option, I would take these, these Scribe Scrolls especially, and I would move them up to Arms and Armor. I might split them, one for Arms and Armor and one for Craft Wondrous. Craft Wondrous covers so many things that it seems worth having the bonus for. My background didn't change. I'm still a dwarf. You can see I put my bonus point into intelligence. I don't think it made as much of a difference as I thought it would when I was actually making the character. Again, just like the blaster, I feel like that point could have gone anywhere. In fact, if I was going to choose right now, I'd probably put it in Constitution just because I don't like odd numbers. Yeah, let's pull my spell book up. I have all kinds of spells. I have so many 0-level spells. Most of my level 1 stuff didn't change. I picked up Refine Improvised Weapons, Reinforce Armaments. And basically, these are if you have items that are improvised or of inferior quality, you can upgrade them to be more functional in combat. I took Continual Flame. I'm probably going to use it to set my familiar on fire. I took Full Pouch so that I can make alchemical items, and then I can cast this spell so that I don't run out of alchemical items. Share Memory I find to be enormously useful. Basically, I can take a 60 seconds of my memories and give them to somebody else. Well, if I wanted to tell somebody about an item I had created, what its command words were, all that sorts of nonsense, I would just think about that item for 60 seconds, and then after I did that, I would cast the spell and just download the training for my item into that person. And working in IT, I often wish I could do that. So there you go. That's a spell. Visualization of the mind. Oh, this gives you a variety of bonuses depending on what specific thing you wanted to do. I took it because it seemed like it was neat and versatile. You can see the charisma gives me +2 luck bonus on my d20 rolls for a minute, so that's probably it. The intelligence one lets me take a skill and get 5 skill points in it and become trained in it. It only lasts for a minute, but it seemed like it could be helpful. I don't remember what the wisdom was, and I don't have a scroll wheel, so I can't show you from here. Keen Edge, no brainer. Magic Weapon Greater, no brainer. These are things that you need if you want to make powerful magic items and keep the difficulty down. Magical, power, easy for me to say. Powerful magical weapons, not just magic items. But again, you can see that I really haven't. I focused so heavily on crafting. This character is next to worthless in a fight. No surprise in the skills. I just drove all those points up. For feats, I just continued to take Arcane Builder. I took one for scrolls, one for armor and shields, one for wondrous items. I didn't take one for magic weapons yet. I will probably eventually. Probably actually the next thing I'll do at level 7 is I'll get a craft construct, and then I'll want to have arcane builder for craft construct. And again, if I'm in a game where retraining is a thing, I'll probably take this arcane builder scrolls and I'll spend the money and time to bump that up to be craft construct. So that. I don't think there's anything else consequential on this. And again, you can see I just utterly failed to fill out everything that wasn't interesting. In this case, I didn't spend my money, but there are a couple of magical tools that are useful. The amazing tools of manufacture is a big one. The low level bonus, where it gives you +4 circumstance bonus on your craft skill, super helpful. The level 6 and above bonus, where I have to have at least 6 ranks in a skill to use it. It lets me. I'm stumbling over myself. I'm so excited about these. Basically, it says that if a mundane item you want to create costs less than 2,000 gold pieces, you can build it in 1 hour. So this ensures that if I am crafting weapons or armor or whatever, boots, belts, etc., I can always have an appropriate custom designed by my character version of that item. So yeah, I think that's pretty exciting. I like it. I would definitely go in for that. There's also, I think it's called the Any Tool belt or vest or something like that, which makes it so that you always have the tools you need for your craft. But there isn't. This is the important stuff. Being a dwarf, using these abilities, taking those feats. That's the stuff that makes it so that my my crafting is more effective than it would be if I didn't have those things. So that's it. Once again, I hope these are useful and interesting. If you have any questions about this character or any of the choices that I made, just let me know and I will be happy to explain it all. So there we go.